So good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, and that's a lot of people, because there's a lot of new people in the company, I'm Jan Owbridge. I used to be able to say Steve Owbridge is my son, but now I'll say I'm Steve Owbridge's mum, right? Because more people know Steve than they do me now. Yeah, he's my son. I introduced him to the company, so because I'm a founder, one of the founding vice presidents, but I don't do a great deal now. I don't run a base shop. I assist in our hierarchy, help with training and motivation and so on, and some of the field training in our hierarchy. So I'm semi-retired, if you like. But I do love to train. I love Jenny Star. I'm 68, so I could retire. My husband is 75, so wow. 76 actually. So we could actually, we're past retirement age, but I don't believe in retiring, and I love Jenny Star, so there's no way I want to retire. But I do like cruising, so I tend to spend a lot of time on ship, and there's internet, so I can run my business from there. And I tend to cruise probably 6 times a year. That's my passion. Apart from my church and my family, my passion is cruising. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is planning a balanced life. I'm going to share my screen with you in a minute. What I'd like you to do, if you've got a notebook like a sheet of paper like Violetta, I can see she's poised there ready with her notebook. I'd like you to draw a circle. Yeah, I saw you there. Good, that's coachability, Violetta. I like that. So draw a big circle on your page. I'd like you to, and I'd like you to divide it into 9 sections.
Got a pen. Where is the pen?
So when you divide it into 9 sections, it might be a good idea
where's the pencil?
I think I'm going to mute all of you. And then, where am I? Mute all. Right, I've muted you all. So if you want to speak, you're going to have to unmute yourself. It's just easier to do that than to ask people to mute themselves while we're in the middle of it. So once you've done your circle, then divide it into 9 segments, like a pizza, but 9 bits of pizza. Now, I know they're all supposed to be a very similar size, but it's unfortunate that we've got 9, because 8 would have been really easy, right? But 9 is not so easy. But doesn't matter, because this is for you, it's not for anyone else. So 9 segments. And I'm going to give you some titles in a minute to put in those segments. So let's begin our slideshow, and I will share my screen and you'll be able to see it. Okay, can you all see that? Right. So first of all, if you can't see this, somebody let me know. Somebody unmute and tell me we're looking at a picture of you. We're not looking at a presentation. Okay, so how do I have a balanced life? Well, there's 9 F's. In one of your segments, I want you to put the word finances. Then family. Faith, firm, fun, fitness, friends, for others, and for eternity. I'll leave those on the screen. You can write those down. Then what I'd like you to do with your circle is I'd like you to put 9 smaller circles inside it. So you've got 10 circles altogether, right to the middle. Okay. was going to do this for you. I used to be able to have this on a printed sheet at one time, but I don't have it now. I don't know what happened to it. Something. But, so once you've done that, then the middle circle is number 1, and then number them from 1 to 10, going right to the outside circle. You're all thinking, what am I doing here? I thought I came to get a lesson, not draw pretty pictures. But this is going to be useful. It's going to be a useful tool for you. In the days to come, it will be useful. I'm trying to find a blank piece of paper. I can maybe show you what I'm talking about. In the meantime, I just knock my phone off the stand. It's useful. Oops, get up there. So it's going to look something like this. Don't know if you can see that. I can't see myself, so I don't know. Can you all see that? It's just a circle, right? It's not really a circle. It's not as pretty as the circle that Violetta drew, but you're going to label it. Now, what I want you to do then is, in each of those sections, as we go through, I want you to put a dot or a mark in each of those segments on the bit that we're talking about. So if we're talking about finances, for example, and you think you're a 10 in finances, you've got thousands of pounds in savings, you've got a great emergency fund, you've got absolutely no debt, your mortgage is paid off, and you've got, and you know what you're doing and everything's great, then that's a 10, right? If you're at the other end of the scale and you're in doubt to your eyeballs, you don't own anything, you're living from hand to mouth, and every month you're in a worse situation than you were the month before, that's a 1, right? So most of us are somewhere in between that. So it's being honest with yourself and putting the mark in where you are, okay? And as we go through, I want you to do that in each section. And what you're going to find is that you'll put a dot on finances, you might be a 7 on finances, but on family, you might not spend enough time with your family or whatever, so you might only be a 4. So what you're going to find is when you join all the dots up, you're going to find you've got a very wobbly wheel, right? It's not a balanced wheel. But I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is we don't want a wobbly wheel. We want to get a nice round wheel because we want a balance. The good news is everybody's got a wobbly wheel, right? All of us have a wobbly wheel. None of us have got it 100% right in every area. None of us have got 5s in every area. If you've got a 5 in every area or a 10 in every area or any figure in every area, then you're lying, right? So first of all, let's look at finances. Well, with finances, as I said, finances, a 10 in finances would be you've got everything together. A 0 or a 1 would be that you really don't, you're struggling. But the great thing is that we're part of Genistar, and Genistar can help you get a good balance in your finances. Now, some people go from the sublime to the ridiculous. So some people will go from being totally spendthrift to being totally skinflint, saving every penny and never do anything fun. Well, there's a balance to be had. With finances, you still have to have some fun money. You still got to have pocket money. And so it's important. Yes, it's important to have an emergency fund. I mean, I don't need to teach guys about finances. That's an area that you all are good at. You all know about. I don't need to teach you in it. You might not be great in that area yet, but you know how to get great at it. You know how to work towards it. So it's not an area we need to spend much time on. But it is an area that we all need to look at. One of the things that I was not very good at before I joined Genistar was budgeting. If I had the money, I bought it. I wasn't very good at thinking, okay, what's my budget for the month? And that's a very good exercise to do, is to write down everything you have to spend. What's your must spend in a month? And we've got a fact finder, and probably, I'm not sure where you find it now on the Genistar site, but we've got a fact finder, not a fact find, a fact finder. And it's a budget sheet, and it's a great tool to go through and say, and I have it on Excel, and you know, every year my husband and I will sit down at some point, usually while we're on holiday, and look at our finances, our budget, how it's changed, what we can do to bring it down. What are we spending that we don't need to? Because, you know, I like to give, and so I give away a lot, but I find myself giving to things that maybe this year I don't want to give to. I'd rather put the money somewhere else. And so I reevaluate where my money is going every year, so that you know, like I was sending money to cats, some cat protection society or something, you know, £10 a month. That's 120 quid a year for cats. And this year I decided, you know what, they've had enough of my money. I'm going to stop the cats thing and put the money somewhere else. So, you know, it's just, I was one of these things I got talked into one time. And I thought, oh, it's only a tenner a month or something. But you do need to evaluate, because all these tenors add up. So with Genistar, not only do you need to budget, but you also need to budget for what you actually want. You need to know what you want to earn with Genistar. So you need to know what your financial goals are. And I'm not talking about, oh, I want to make $1 million a year. Well, before you can make $1 million a year, you've got to make 10,000 a year, right? So start by being realistic. Some of you I know are speaking to one or two of you, and you're very new in the business. So you might not have really done very much yet. So for you to say, I want to earn 100,000 a year is a little bit nonsensical. Now, I'm not saying you can't, but for most people in year one, 100,000 is probably not realistic. So be stretchingly realistic by all means, but be realistic, because one of the things we can do is break it down to find out what we need to be doing, what activity we need to get the finances we need. And so that's an exercise. If you haven't done that yet, ask your EVP, because they know this exercise, how to break down what you want. And I think if you've got a workbook, there's actually a sheet in the workbook that allows you to say, right, I'm at this level. I want to earn this much in my pocket every month. How many times do I need to pick up the phone every day to make sure that that happens? Isn't that a brilliant business? I shouldn't be talking about business now. Right, family. So how much time do you spend with your family? Now, the thing about having a balanced life is that there are seasons when you will be out of balance, and that's okay, because they're planned seasons. For example, your family might need to understand that while you're getting your business off the ground, for 90 days, you're not going to be around much. You're going to be working flat out. You're going to be actually getting out there and getting on the phones, getting on the computer and building your business. But if you show them the benefits of that, then they'll go along with that. But you do, once you've done that, once you've started to build your business and got a bit of momentum going, then you need to actually allocate time with your family. My son, as you know, he's a national sales director. He's very successful. His fiancée, Isabel, she's also a vice president, very successful. They are both very driven, very strong work ethic. They're very, very good and they earn a lot of money, but they set aside time for the family. They have a day every week that is their day. It's not a business day. The team know that you don't call them on that day because that's the day that it's family time. Now, the odd occasion they might put that on hold if they're going for something or there's something important happening, then they might put that day on hold and the family understand that. But generally, the family know that that day is the day that they're going to spend time. They've got a 13-year-old and he needs time. He needs some family time. And so they put a day on hold. Now, you know, you go, oh yeah, but my people need to see me and oh, my clients need to see me on this day and this and that. It's your business. You decide. You make the decisions. They don't make the decisions for you. You make the decisions. So now over Christmas, I think there were 4 days where my son shut off his phone, they shut off his computer. He probably didn't shut off his phone, but he knew that because I still managed to talk to him on FaceTime. But he wasn't doing business. He wasn't answering emails. He wasn't talking to the team. There wasn't any kind of, yeah, call me and I'll sort this out for you. No. He took time out for family and played games and had fun. And I was supposed to be there and I couldn't go because it wasn't worth spending 3.5 hours driving each way just to have lunch. But we were originally supposed to be there. But they had fun. So you need to set time aside. And even if that time you set aside is half a day or one evening, it's still a precious time.
Oh, right, okay.
Family know that you have put that time aside and it's for them, then they will respect you for it. So it's definitely an important thing to do, is to keep that time aside for your family. So family is important. So what about faith? Well, it doesn't matter what faith you follow. Where does it factor in your daily lives? Some people are Christians, some are Muslims, some are Hindu, some are, I don't know what else. Some have got no faith. Well, everyone's got a faith in something. They just don't admit to it. But whatever that is, how much time do you give that? Because it requires effort. It requires you to do something. Now, this is where I give my little pep talk. Do excuse me if you're not a Christian, okay? I can only talk from a Christian perspective because I'm a Christian and I'm a minister. Okay. You don't have to be in church 7 days a week to please God. You don't have to be in the mosque 7 days a week to please God. You don't have to be in the temple 7 days a week to please God, right? Faith has got nothing to do with going to church, right? Faith is your relationship with God. Now, do I believe in going to church? Absolutely. Do I believe you should be in church 7 days a week? No. How are you going to build a business, for goodness sake? You know, I remember interviewing somebody one time and I said, well, you know, we have Saturday morning, we have training. And they said, oh, Saturday morning, we have evangelism. Okay. Well, Monday night, we have the op meeting. Oh, no, Monday night, we have prayer meeting. Okay. well, which evenings are you going to use for your Genistar business? And it turned out she had band practice on Thursday. She had prayer meeting on Friday, all night on Friday. She had prayer meeting on Monday. She had something else on Tuesday, Bible study Wednesday. I said, keep your 140 quid, honey, because something's got to give. You are not going to build a business. Listen, folks, you are not going to build a business or keep your family life good if you're spending too much time in church. And I'm telling you that as a pastor. In fact, when I pastored my own church, I'm a pastor with a large church now. But when I was senior pastor of my own church, I wouldn't let anybody have more than 3 jobs. Right? Why? Because you've got to have time for your family. You've got to have time for your work. You've got to have time. And if you've got a business, you've got to have time for your business. So it's important that faith is definitely important. And my business wouldn't survive without my faith. And every day I spend time working on my faith. But I don't spend time working on my faith that I should be working on something else, except it kind of all fits in together. But what I mean by that is I don't spend time going to church or being on a church Zoom, right? That is now, if I've upset some people, then I'm not sorry. I'm just telling you like it is. Hey, listen, this is reality, folks. You cannot, don't think that just because you're working in church that God is going to build your business. It's not. One scripture says, occupy till I come. And that word occupy in Greek is do business till I come. Do business till I come. So I'm off my soapbox. But just think about it. You've got to have a balanced life. And that means you've got to spend time with your family, with your faith, and with your firm, right? So how much time do you give to Genistar? How much time do you give to your business? You cannot build a business spare time. This is not a spare time business. Now, if you don't want to build a business, right? If all you want to do is earn a little bit of extra pin money, just to kind of supplement your income by 100 or 200 a month, just, do a little bit of something once in a blue moon, fine. Ignore everything I'm telling you. But I'm kind of assuming that because you're on this call, in this class, that you actually want to build a business. If I'm wrong, go, right? If you don't want to build a business, don't listen to me. But if you want to build a business, you've got to allow time for that business. You've got to put aside things that are important. Now, when we used to have Monday night op meetings, I told my team, you do not do scoops and carrybacks on a Monday night. Now it's different, of course. We don't have that. At the moment, we've got Monday nights like this, but it won't be like this forever. But we had an op meeting where you came in person and you brought your guests in person and you were there to look after your guests in person. I told my team, that's business. That's a business night. You dress for success. You dress for business. You come in and you put on your game face. You don't bring your work or your home sorrows in. You're there to work. You're there to recruit people. And so that was a business night. Don't go doing scoops and carrybacks or go collecting IBAs. Oh, yeah, but it's an IBA and that's the only night they could do. If that's the only night they could do, when are they going to do the business? It's rubbish. Right? Oh, well, they had to see me on Monday night. No, they didn't. They had to see you when you can fit them in. And if they can't see you on a different night, then I wouldn't see them. Because you run your business. Now, we had training on Saturday morning. I've been doing this business since the beginning, since before the beginning. I was with Jeff in City Solutions. So I did City Solutions 3 years before I did Genistar. So I've been doing this business for 16 years. In fact, almost exactly 16 years. 16 and a half years, right? So, and I trained my son. Okay. Do you think that I learn a great deal on a Saturday morning training? Probably not, right? But I'm on training every Saturday morning. Huh? Why? Because I need to hear it again, the same as everybody else does. I hear it from a different perspective. I hear things said in a different way. I like to celebrate success, but also I should be on that training. It's my job to be on that training. Part of my role is to be on that training as a leader. And as an upcoming leader, it's part of your role to be on that training. When people say to me, oh, I can't make Saturday morning training. Yeah, well, I know that there are some exceptions, you know, you're working or whatever, I know that. But a winner rearranges their circumstances for success. It's as simple as that, really. So there are certain things which you set aside time for your business. If you look at it this way, if you had a job and your boss said to you, you've got to work on Saturday morning or you don't get paid, you'd show up, right? No choice. Well, you have a choice in this, so it makes it harder because you've got a choice in this. Oh, I see Reverend Linda. Is that my Linda? I'm not sure which Reverend Linda that is, but I suspect it's my Linda Dunn, is it? So you've got to give your business time. Whatever you do, allow time to build your business. If you don't allow time, then, and you say, but I work all day. Well, that's okay. You do this business in the evening. I used to work all day too when I started. And I like to work Saturdays. I don't have small children. So for me, I would leave training on a Saturday. My first appointment would be like 12 o'clock. And I do a 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 8 o'clock on a Saturday. Every week, Saturday. Right? That was my preference. And then I could do in the evening if I wanted to in the week. But I used to do a whole bunch on Saturday because I found it's a good time to get people home. That was me. But I allowed that time. I allocated time. I didn't fit my business into my busy schedule. I fit my schedule around my business. And that's what you have to do. There are certain things that are non-negotiable. I wouldn't miss church for my business. That's me. Church is, it's in my diary. I don't do stuff in church time. Somebody said, oh, well, can you do 10 o'clock? The only time I miss church is to be in somebody else's church, to do something in church, right? I've done that before, but I don't miss church for a business. That's not business time, that's church time, right? So, however, if I have a mandatory EVP call and the church asks me to do something, I say, no, I have a mandatory EVP call. My business requires me to be on that call. And so I'm on it. Okay, so business. Now, on to some nicer stuff, right? The first 3 letters of fundamentals is fun. You gotta have fun. This thing is fun, folks. It's fun seeing people get set free. It's fun chatting to people. It's fun getting to know people. I love a good laugh, and I have a good laugh on Zoom calls with people. I make friends with my clients and my reps, and we have fun. So you've got to have some fun. What do you do for fun? I like listening to audiobooks for fun. I like watching series. I don't watch much TV, but every now and again I veg out and just have a day watching a series and catch up. Usually when my son says to me, Mom, you mean you haven't watched this? Are you crazy? You've got to watch this. And then I go, oh, yeah, all right then. And I have to find it and watch some so I can tell him I've watched it. I like bowling, and that hits 2 of my F's. Fun and the next one. I've picked up knitting recently. I like games on my iPad. I play word games. I love word games. And I like jigsaws. I've got an iPad jigsaw thing, and I do jigsaws. I like that. That's fun for me. I love to go out with friends. I love to go out to dinner, which I can't do at the moment. I love cosmetics and skincare. I've got a temple, so I had a virtual spa day. And I had like 8 friends all on Zoom. We all had a virtual spa. And, you know, we did facials and our hands, and some people did their feet. And we had a lady that took us through it. I'm having a virtual skincare class later on in the month. And it's wonderful. I absolutely love it. That's fun for me. So I love spending time with friends. I love my grandkids. I love spending time with them. When I have my grandkids together and it's not lockdown, we go out Pokemon hunting. I've got Pokemon, and we all go out with our phones and we go around town, and they love that. Sometimes it's a bit cold for me, but I go anyway. But we all go Pokemon hunting. It's like, oh, quick, there's you know, Pikachu or whatever. Did you get it? Did you get all that? You know, yeah, I've got Pokemon. So I love to do those things with my grandchildren. In the summer, we always have a walk in Lincoln. Lincoln is a brilliant city, and it usually has different statues in the summer. They usually put it up in the early summer and take it down in the autumn. And they have like each statue has a story, and you get a map and you follow the map with the kids, and you find a hidden letter on the statue and fill it in on a thing, and then you hand it in at one big shop, and they get some gold coins as you know, as a prize. And the kids love it, and I love that. I go around with them, and you know, we spend a couple of hours going around the town. Wears me out, but I love it. So fun. What do you do for fun? So that's fun and family. And the next one, fitness. Woo! It's easy to be a couch potato in the days of lockdown, isn't it? But I've seen that there are more people out taking walks in lockdown than there actually were before. And people are very friendly. Have you noticed when you go out for a walk, people are really friendly? Well, I do live in a village, so, you know, we walk past people and they go, hello, good afternoon, and how are you doing? And, you know, it's really nice. But I told you I like bowling, 10-pin bowling. Well, I haven't been able to go. I've only been once since March. And that was in between lockdown, and then they closed it down again. But I do love to do bowling, and that's good exercise too, because we play 10 games straight after each other. I play 2.5 hours straight, and once a week. I'd like to go twice a week, but I have to persuade my husband to go a second time. But I really enjoy that. And walking, and I like walking in foreign countries when I'm on a cruise ship, walking up and down a cruise ship. That's good exercise. Walking around the cruise ship and walking off the ship and into the towns, that's great exercise. So if you can't do anything else, then you can walk. You need to look at your fitness. I must admit, when I first did my wheel, this was a very wonky bit, right? Because I was not fit at all. So my wheel was kind of a bit wonky, but this one went right in. Not fit. But I've lost over 65 pounds in weight in the past 18 months. So I've got myself fit, and I don't plan on putting the weight back on again. And so I intend to. So that's helped me. It's meant that I could come off medication. Thank you, Adele. Yeah, I come off medication for blood pressure. So, you know, I'm a lot healthier than I was. So yeah, so you've got to look at your fitness level. It doesn't mean you've got to be constantly in the gym, but it does mean that you've got to think about how can you increase your fitness level. So, you know, we try and go out for walks at least 3 times a week, more if we can. It was easier when we could go into town, walk around the town. But we can't do that now as easily in lockdown. So we can walk around the village. Then friends. Next thing is friends. Whoops, where are you? Yeah. So when was the last time you got together with your friends or gave them a call or did a Zoom call with friends? That's one of the reasons I quite like doing my Temple Spa thing, because I ask my friends from all over the country to join. And it's a great way of kind of hanging out with them and getting together with them. Oh, that's just reminded me, I've got another friend that I haven't invited yet. So I need to do that when I come off this call. You know, I'm not very good at this. I'm not good at keeping up with my friends. And one of the things we've got to be careful of in our business is that we don't just get together with our friends just for business. Oh, hi, how are you doing? By the way, do you want an extra 500 to 1,000 a month? No. If you haven't been speaking to your friends for a while, then call them up just to see how they're doing and do that and keep in touch with them. Then you can ask them. But, you know, don't just leap on friends you haven't spoken to in ages, because, you know, what are they going to think? They're going to think, yeah, right, or she's only calling me because she wants me to join her flipping business. She's not interested really in how I am. You don't want friends to think that. So give them a call, spend time with them, just talk to them as a friend. And you might think, but I'm trying to build my business. I don't want to waste time on that. Believe me, that's not wasting time. That's sowing good seeds. You've got to speak with your friends to keep them as friends. And, you know, my son, he tells this story. It's a true story. My son has a friend called George who lives in Manchester. George and his brother Charles were at the same boarding school as Steve when he was a child. And Steve went to boarding school when he was just 10, or coming up 10. And he made friends in that same term with Charles and George. And they stayed best friends until they left school. And they've stayed friends all that time. Now, when Steve joined Genistar, he phoned George and said to him, you know, listen, because he kept in touch with him. It wasn't a situation I mentioned, but he phoned him and he said about the business. And he said, George, you know, you'd just be great at this. And he said at the time, he knew George's situation, and he knew that they were really hard up. And he knew that an extra £1,000 a month part-time could seriously change this guy's life, right? So George said to him, well, what is it about? And he said, well, I'm not supposed to tell you, but, right? And then proceeded to spend an hour trying to explain to George on the phone about Genistar. Well, he's very persuasive, my son. So George is like, oh, yeah, that's great. So they arranged the following week. They were going to speak. He was going to go and speak to Maria, his wife, and they were going to come up, come down to Steve's and spend a weekend and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So after about 3 or 4 days, Steve hadn't heard from him. So he phoned him up. He said, George, what's happening? He said, yeah, I spoke to Maria. She can't see how you can make money doing this. Steve said, I can't have explained it to you right. So he then proceeded to try and explain it to him again. Now, what happens when you try and explain something to somebody over the phone? First of all, you're limited because you can't see people. You've got no presentation. Then you're going to take what you heard, which is only a fraction of what was said, and try now to then tell somebody else about it. Is it any wonder that he didn't join? About 3 months ago, George joined Genistar, right? Steve would call him up regularly, never mention Genistar. How you doing, George? How's life treating you? How you doing? Great stuff, you know, and just kept in touch with him. Somebody's joined us and not muting themselves. Let me Let me find them again.
During the last phase of the struggle, he said that in the context of the vaccines which are coming.
Okay. Everybody should be muted now. Don't know who that was. Okay. So, oh, have I lost all your videos? Have I done that? I think I might have done that. No, I've just muted you is all. Okay, so so George, the moral of our story, whoops, what happened there? Gone way past. The moral of that story is that you stay in touch with your friends. You stay in touch with your friends so that they will stay friends with you. And then eventually, like George, they might just decide to join. So now George joined, and Steve's told that story for years. He said, I did all the wrong things, and he's never to this day joined, was what he always said. And now he can tell the story, and now he's joined. But that's because he kept in touch with him all those years. Now, the next F is for others. What do you do for others? You know, one of the ethos of Genistar is that we're not selfish. You know, if you do have a faith, then it's quite likely that you give. So you're giving out of what you bring in. I love to do that. I'm a big giver. You know, I don't believe in the tithe, the law of the tithe. I believe in the love of the tithe. I believe in giving much more than the tithe. I want to be in a position where I can give away more than I keep, but still have enough for me. That would be wonderful. So what do you do for us? What do you do for other people? I phone ever since March. Actually, it was the 2nd of April. I have a team of people who phone every vulnerable person in our church every single week. And I have 19 people on my list personally. And every single week I phone 19 people and just see how they're doing. Do they need anything? Do they need any help? What's going on in their lives? Let them have a chat and so on. And every Thursday morning, that is my call time. I call all the people. So so for me, that's me giving my time and my attention. And then the week before Christmas, we drove round, one of my team and myself drove round and delivered gifts to over 40 homes. They were just people in the location that I'm part of. We have 7 locations. And I call people from 3 different locations, but that we just did for our location. So over 40 homes, we drove around and dropped off Christmas cards and presents. So I'm not telling you that just to make you think I'm really great. I mean, you know, I wasn't the only one, and I don't do nearly as much as a lot of people, but I did what I could, and I do what I can for others, because that's what it's about. What we do in our business is for others, and a result of that is for others. And finally, it's for eternity. What's the legacy you'll be leaving behind? It's the legacy you'll be leaving behind debt, which a lot of our clients are, or are you going to leave behind a legacy of a balanced life, a legacy of good family life? I am so proud of my kids. My daughter had a very successful estate agency. She sold it, and she's now started working as of the 1st of the year, started working with Genistar. And so my son is training her. She's already got 1 recruit, or at least I think she had another one having an interview. So she's already well away. She's got the best of me and the best of Steve, so she'll do great. But you know, I'm more proud of the fact that I've got kids who we have a great relationship with. I have a great relationship with both my kids, with all my grandchildren. I have a great relationship with my in-laws, my daughter-in-law to be. I call her my daughter-in-law because she is really, and my son-in-law. I have a great relationship with my husband and my brothers and my sister. We just have a great relationship, family relationship. I want to leave behind, but my kids particularly. One of the things that I'm very proud of is that my son, he was 50 this year. And one of the things he said to the team, for which I was extremely blessed and proud, is he said, one of the greatest things that my parents gave me was the belief that I could do anything I wanted to do, that there was nothing to stop me. My parents have been my biggest support. Even when I've made stupid decisions, they've supported me through thick and thin. That is the kind of legacy that I wanted to be leaving to my kids. And I'm just so proud that I am. So those are the 9 Fs. We've got 15 minutes left. So questions, guys, feel free. Don't matter what it's on. Unmute yourself. I don't mind if they're personal, business, anything else, or a comment. Or we can all go home early. Up to you. Nobody got any questions? I must have done a great job if you got no questions. Because somebody must have something to say. Let me see who's on that might have a question. Linda, you've usually got something to say. Questions or comments? Is there anybody who disagree with me or agree with me? Or Tim, you've gone off mute.
Hello.
What have you got to say?
Hi. Yes, I haven't got a question as such. I just want to make a comment on the friend side because one of the things I was slipping on is that I was slowly running out of contacts on the friend side of things. And once I've got the dreaded no, I haven't been doing the keeping in touch. So listening to that, that sort of got me thinking, looks like I should be getting in touch there again.
Yeah, because they won't want to contact you first because they'll be thinking, if I contact him, I think I just want to get involved with this thing, right? So yeah, just calling them up. And if they go, well, what do you want? Well, nothing. I just want to see how you're doing. Right? Yeah. I've got friends who will never, ever join Genostar. Never. They'll never join. That's just the way they are. They're not interested. They're the older generation, of course. It's a different generation. But I've got friends they finished their work life. They're retired. They're very happy doing what they're doing. They're they're quite happy with their pension. I've got a friend who's got a really good pension. Their house all paid off. They have 2 holidays abroad a year. They're happy. They're contented. They've got family life. She's busy. They're very busy with their family. She'll never join Genostar, ever. Right? And I've got other friends that are like that. But I still talk to them all the time. And I've got friends that join but have done nothing. Right. That I still talk to them all the time, even though I don't talk to them about the business. They'll come back when they're ready, when they're ready, maybe or not. But our friendship is not based on Genostar. So, and they need to know that. Okay. Right. Thanks so much. Yeah. Thank you. So that's your New Year's resolution. Call all my friends and say hi. Yes. Yeah. Brilliant. Anybody else?
Hi, Jan. It's Patrick. Sorry.
Which
Lady
one?
before gentleman.
No, there was Donald. There's Donald and Patrick, so they're both gentlemen.
Okay, go ahead, Patrick. I'll come off to you.
Okay, thank you. Jan, similar to Tim, I've known a chap I've worked alongside for the best part of 20 years. And I phoned him up and I invited him to the business overview, arranged a time to follow up to him, phone him, and he's never picked up again.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
a good friendship for over 20 years, and he hasn't picked up at all. So from what Tim's saying, it's a bit of the reverse, but
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's one of those ones. Do I phone him? I don't want to
Yeah.
text him because I think that's
Yeah.
impersonal.
Yeah,
know
but
what I mean?
you can phone him again. If he doesn't pick up, text him and say, "Hey guy, how you doing? Just wanted to check you're all right and say Happy New Year.
Yeah.
You know, when's a good time to catch up?" And
Yeah.
then you could put a little, you could put in brackets a little emoji and say, "And I mean, just catch up," something like that. You know.
Yeah. That could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that kind of helps me out a bit, does that? Because I kind of beat myself up a bit, to be honest. So yeah, thank you very much for that, Jan.
No problem. Donald.
Yes. To be honest, coming on this program here, I felt really good coming on here tonight, because just about 2 or 3 days ago, I said to my wife, I was telling my wife about, you know, certain circumstances where I rang quite a few friends and colleagues, past work colleagues, and they haven't replied. And, you know, I've sent them, like, for example, the text asking, can I pass in the telephone numbers and things like that. And they haven't replied. And my wife said to me, say, you know what, Donald, it's your fault. I said, why? She said, you don't contact your friends. You don't keep in touch enough. And honestly, and tonight I hear you talking about that and hitting on the friend bit here. And I said, that is me. I do not keep in touch with my friends and family as I should. And I think this is what is actually hitting me now, because when I rang them and tried to, you know, talk to them about this link, and then to invite them into, you know, to get involved with Genostar, they're just not interested at all.
No.
And this is because of what my own doing. So I think as from tonight,
we've all been there. Yeah. But you can rescue it. You can rescue it, you know.
Yeah.
But it means that you've burned that list.
Yes.
So, you know, it's much easier to call strangers. Much
Right.
easier. Recruit a few people and get their top 20 list and phone them. Much easier.
Right.
Much easier to ring a stranger.
Okay, so you would say just leave those people alone then?
Yeah, just call them for friendship. Just give them a call. Hey, how you doing? Happy New Year. Send them a text. You know, just want to say Happy New Year. How you coping with lockdown? Blah, blah, blah. Where are you from, Donald? I should have been in the Caribbean over Christmas and New Year.
I'm from Jamaica. I am from Jamaica.
Jamaica. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you should have been in the Caribbean.
I should have been, yeah. I was flying to Barbados and then doing 2 weeks cruising around the Caribbean.
Oh,
It got cancelled.
Oh, that's a shame. Sorry about that.
You
would have enjoyed that.
I've been a few times.
Okay.
A lot of times. I cruise 6 times a year, so.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I heard you talk about it. I said, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I've got a YouTube channel called The Cruise Queen. And they call me the Cruise Queen. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely. So go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, so, you know, I just love holidays. I love cruising. And now that I'm older, I feel like, you know, that's my life. I want to enjoy it.
Yeah, you've done it all. I mean, you've worked hard enough. So yeah, enjoy life now. That's cool.
And I override my son and his whole team, so.
Fantastic. Yeah. I would love one day to be talking the way you're talking right now.
You can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Well, it's,
I was the worst with money, believe me. And listen, I was in ministry. I didn't know, you know, nothing. I struggled. I never got paid. I lived from hand to mouth. It was by faith, quote unquote, by faith and credit cards. So,
hard work and determination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it.
Thank you. That's it for me anyway. Thank you so much.
One thing my son always says is our business is freakishly predictable.
Yeah.
Freakishly predictable.
Yeah.
You know, you just, if you do the right things with your time, it'll work, it'll happen.
Okay.
The only thing that will make you fail is not doing it.
Right. Yes.
It might take longer. Some people take longer than others, but you know what? It happens.
It will happen. Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Okay. Anything else, guys? Still got 5 minutes left. Theo, happy to have heard your views on faith. I really don't want to come across as being anti-church. I love my church. Anti-faith, I love that. I love God. I've been in ministry for many, many years, and God is number one in my life. He's number one in my life. He's number one in my business. But I was pastoring and running a Bible college when I found this business.
Okay.
And I told my folks, I am not going to do midweek service because I need to build this business, because I don't have a pension plan. And since I don't get paid, I don't pay any national insurance. So I'm not going to get a lot of pension, right? So I need to build a pension plan for myself. And so I'm not going to do a midweek service. Somebody else can do the midweek service. And they were like, okay, Pastor, no problem. Right? And so I focused on building my business. I still did Sunday service. I still did, the odd things, but I focused on building my business while I still had church, but I focused on building my business.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Good.
Yeah, Jan, thank you so much for talking about not needing to be in church every day, because people tend to feel guilty that I have to put God first, neglecting their children and, not taking care of like business. And I'm so glad that you said it. I really, confirming something for me and releasing me not to feel bad because I'm not doing whatever people consider to be God's business 24/7.
Well, if you think about it, Eva, church is not God.
No.
Your relationship with God. See, it's God first, then family, then business, then church. And I know pastors won't be happy with me, but I'm a pastor, so I'm telling you, you've got to make money. You've got to put God first. You've got to look after your family, because that's your God-given business. Then you've got to make money. And hey, as a pastor, I want you to go make money so you can give. Right? And then you should be in church. It's crazy. Pastors need that. I used to teach this in Bible college. I tell them, are you crazy that you want your people to be in church all the hours God sends? When are they going to make money to give in the offering? Right? Like, oh yeah. Like,
Sorry,
so yeah.
sorry, Jane. I didn't want to sort of provoke a long discussion, but I'm just similar to what Eva is saying there, that, whenever you want to talk about business with your friends or colleagues you go to church with, they want to shine away from business. And I've got to a point where I'm saying, you know what, unfortunately, I don't want to talk to anybody in this church about business, because you don't want to understand how business works and how we need to make money to support the church. So that was why I was saying I'm happy to hear your views on it, because there are certain people within a certain community who think church first, and then the rest money is the last thing on their agenda. Whilst I don't think so. So that's why I put that comment there.
Excellent. Well, of course, money was not the last thing on God's agenda. He says,
no, it's not.
And, he tells us to do business. He tells us that the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just, but we've just got to figure out how to do it. I've got a presentation. I'm doing a presentation at the weekend for one of the ministers in our hierarchy, for his ministers. And I do this on occasion. People ask me. I will do presentations. I've got a presentation called Financial Intelligence from a Biblical Perspective.
Yeah.
And so that is looking at business, looking at money, and it looks at scripture, but it also looks at the practical side, because, you know, ministers are very good at, this is what gets me, you know, when I talk to ministers. I say to them, listen, you preach, give, tithe, give, and it should be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, running over. How the heck are you going to get it if you're not going to do anything? The Bible also says if a man won't work, he shouldn't eat.
Yeah.
No.
Are you going to tell all your people to starve so they can, you know? Of course not. So you can't, on the one hand, preach spiritual truths, which is, yeah, it's great, it's good. God says, you know, that he will give us the power, or the authority, it says, to get wealth. It gives us the power to get wealth, right? But that's the ability to get wealth. He gives us the ability to get wealth. But as soon as you come up with the ability, some ministers go, oh, no, you know, you don't want to be doing that. You should be in church instead. Of course, you should have a time set aside for church. Absolutely. Which is, you know, what balanced life is about. But you've also got to have time set aside for other things. And I mean, I see a lot of, I've preached in loads of African churches, you know, and I probably more than any other, in fact. And I see people there with their kids. They're there at 9 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then, or then 10 o'clock at night, the kids are lying down on the floor sleeping. They've not been home. They've been there all day. The kids are in church all day Sunday. They're dragged out on a Saturday, so Friday night, all night prayer. You know, so they're good for nothing on a Saturday, so they can't take their kids out on a Saturday because they're too tired. You know, when you got time for your kids, when you got time for your family, you know, like I stopped doing years ago. Oh, my microphone changed. Okay. I stopped it when I was pastoring. I stopped doing a Christmas morning service, a typical Christmas morning service. I said, stay at home with your kids.
Yeah.
Praise God. Now, our church, we have a Christmas morning service, but it's a special kind of service. It's our senior pastor, and it's like an institution. It's a very small service compared to the rest of the year. We probably only have a couple of hundred people there, but he sits on the steps at the front, and all the kids come forward one by one and show him one of the toys that they got for Christmas. And they'll like come and they'll show him how their robot walks, and he'll say, you know, is that what you wanted? And he has a little chat to all the children. So it's a morning of celebration. He shares with all the children how Jesus was given gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, but your present is much nicer. And he says, you know, that Jesus was the gift that was sent to us as our gift. But every year it's a toy sharing, a gift sharing service. Lasts probably about an hour, but of that time, there's probably one prayer, one carol, and the rest of the time is all the kids sharing their presents. And it's the first time this year we didn't do it, but we had a very short service on Zoom, very, very short. And again, there were kids that shared on Zoom, shared their present with the pastor, that's what we do. For me, that was great. I love that because it's a family day. We're celebrating Jesus, but listen, we should be celebrating Jesus every day, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. I've kept you over time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.